stay in North America, and the US government has officially shut down its foreign aid agency, marking a dramatic shift in America's global development strategy. On July the 1st, the Trump administration closed the US Agency for International Development, also known as USAID, calling it the end of a charity-based model that the president believes no longer serves US interests. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who led the effort to dismantle the agency, slashed 85% of its programs and merged its operations into the State Department. Rubio defended the move, calling USAID bloated and outdated, and claimed it symbolized government waste. He said the agency was rightly targeted in a wider cost-cutting campaign driven by billionaire Elon Musk. Founded in 1961 by President John F. Kennedy to win hearts and minds of the developing world during the Cold War, USAID played a crucial role in global health, disaster relief and poverty reduction for more than 6 decades. The decision sparked an outpouring of criticism from former leaders and global figures. Former Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama, along with activists and U2 frontman Bono, sent a farewell message to staff praising their work and warning that the agency's mission remains essential. Obama, who seldom publicly criticizes Trump, called the move inexplicable and a colossal mistake, adding that gutting USAID is a tragedy. It's some of the most important work happening anywhere in the world. A study published in The Lancet warns that the foreign aid cuts could lead to over 14 million deaths by 2030, including millions of children, if key programs in health and development are not restored. Well, Ross Feingold back with us once again. We've heard conflicting comments, as we do with a lot of Donald Trump's policies, which aren't always popular across the board. People calling out, including George W. Bush and Barack Obama, this move to cut US aid. Is it as simple as Donald Trump is putting America first, or is it an oversight really on the impact that USAID has and the potential devastation it could cause for areas facing famine, civil war and other disasters?
I think this is a matter of President Trump's America First approach to foreign policy. He simply doesn't feel that the U.S. taxpayer should be funding the aid for other countries at this level or this dollar amount. That's why the dollar amount will be dramatically reduced. There'll still be some foreign aid that will be operated out of the State Department with the end of USAID. But President Trump has an America First policy, and clearly he's decided that this does not include providing the aid for whether humanitarian aid, disaster relief, other types of health and education programs that USAID was involved in for so many decades. You know, we should keep in mind that elections have consequences. President Trump was elected, and these are his policies. It really should come as no surprise. A future U.S. president might very well reinstate USAID or under that name or some other type of program. But the consequence of electing President Trump in the foreign policy space includes the end of USAID. And that's just the reality. And other countries are going to have to step into that space.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you brought up other countries stepping into that space. Who do you think could fill the gap that the American financial support will be leaving?
It's going to have to be countries with the financial ability to do so. So that would include several of the Western European countries. Certainly France and Germany come to mind. Here in East Asia, Japan and South Korea are very wealthy countries. They certainly have the financial ability. In Oceania, Australia has long been an aid provider to the Pacific Island countries, and they will continue to do that. China has been increasingly using its financial capabilities as well, notably in Africa. So I would expect we'll see China doing more of that, although there's always criticism about China's aid programs and especially China's willingness to fund infrastructure programs, because that always winds up into a discussion about debt trap for the recipient countries. But there are countries with the ability to step in, and we'll see if they're willing to do so, if they're going to follow an America First policy of their own and not do so.
Yes, Ross, before we move on to our next topic, we've heard, of course, some of the outcry from leading former figures in US politics. But with current US politicians, how do you think that this will be received? Could this lead to further discussion? And is there any chance that this move could be pulled back?
There's no chance that this move could be pulled back. I do think there's some more, we call them establishment Republicans, especially in the Senate, more so than in the House of Representatives, who probably oppose this. They would have preferred AID continues to exist. Maybe they would have reduced funding. Maybe they would have done more to eliminate waste, fraud, and corruption, which does exist. It exists in the international humanitarian space. That's just the reality. But they're not going to fight President Trump over this. That's clear. So the reality is that AID is disappearing into the State Department, and U.S. foreign aid will be given, but at much lower levels than in the past.
Ross, absolutely. If you stay with us, we're going to stay now in North America and look at a feud that has been rolling on